How hard can it really be to make Metroid Prime 4? The Metroid Prime series did the unthinkable. It took 2D Metroid and made it 3D, and it was just as freaking awesome as everyone wanted it to be. But Metroid Prime 3 released way back in 2007, and after multiple announcements, delays, and completely scrapping all progress and starting with a completely new development studio, I think you can forgive me for beginning to believe that Metroid Prime 4 will never be finished. And if Nintendo isn't going to make Metroid Prime 4, then I guess I'm going to have to. So let's open up Game Builder Garage and find out just how hard it is to make our very own Metroid Prime game. Straight away I let out a sigh of relief because the Metroid Prime games are first person, meaning that I didn't have to make a terrible character model or get the camera stuck in the character's butt. Then I remembered that I did have to put together a model for Samus's big space gun cannon arm, so I got to work sticky taping a bunch of cylinders and boxes together, and would you look at that, we've got ourselves a bounty hunting space gun. Pew, 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 pew. It was definitely starting to look like a Metroid game, but it definitely didn't feel like a Metroid game yet, which meant that I needed to implement something that wasn't initially a staple for the series, but is arguably now the definitive way to play it. We gotta make motion controls, baby! That's right, Game Builder Garage supports gyro aiming, which meant that I could set up a motion control aiming system and waggle my arms furiously, just like in the Prime trilogy for the Wii. At first, the gyro aiming was a bit of a nightmare, but after tweaking the settings a bit, the motion controls actually were working. It's not a perfect replica, but I'm honestly a little shocked at how not terrible the motion controls are. I did, however, leave the option in for traditional stick aiming, just in case. Just think, you could have Joy-Con drift and gyro aiming. This is shaping up to be the greatest game ever made. But there's no use having a space gun if there's nothing to aim at, which meant it was time to make some enemies. There are loads of weird and wonderful creatures in the Metroid series, but I thought I'd keep it classic and make my own version of Zoomers and Space Pirates. I had no idea these little guys were called Zoomers until I made this video, but I've always loved docile enemies in games. Sure, they'll kill you on collision, but if you stay out of their way, they'll just get on with their grocery shopping. It was pretty easy to make my own Zoomer. I just grabbed a simple object, gave it spikes that wiggle about, and then added some simple patrolling AI so it just moseys about. I think it's kinda cute. And with my Zoomer done, I got to work on my Space Pirate. I googled a bunch of images of Space Pirates from the game in order to get an idea of like form or body shape, but what the heck even are these things? I was so confused, and before I knew it, I'd made something that looked more like Mr. Krabs trying to pinch you, which then turned into E.T. trying to grab you before I finally settled on this. It doesn't look like a space pirate, but I feel as though it has the right menacing energy, so we're just gonna roll with it. Now that we had a player and enemies, it was time to think about building a level. The level design in Metroid games is more than iconic and helped to define a whole genre of games, so I came up with a plan to try to capture these sensibilities. I wanted the player to have to overcome enemies to collect power-ups that granted access to new areas before finally culminating in a boss. I was overwhelmed by all the power-ups that I could choose from. I could try to make the high jump or grapple beam or even the ice beam or speed booster, but because I'm foolish, I thought, I should do the morph ball. That'll be easy. It was not easy. I'll try to explain my process without sounding completely nonsensical. I created two character controllers, one that was the normal first-person controller and one that was the morph ball. I then needed to create a series of switches that would allow only one of these characters to be controlled at a time. Then I had to teleport each of the characters to the other character's position when they became activated, and also trigger switches so that the elements of each character became invisible when not in use. But in summary, after enough coffee to make a horse have heart failure, I had a heckin' morph ball, which meant it was time for the truest of tests. Can I roll through a slightly smaller than Samus-sized hole? It's perfect! I can't believe we've done it! I'd actually pulled off the morph ball transformation and it 110% definitely didn't have any glitches. No. Why? I could roll up the wall? Why am I taking damage when I roll up the wall? Some of the bugs I managed to fix, and some I just had to let go. Some mysteries just aren't meant to be solved, I guess. With the power-ups done, I got to work fully realizing the level design. I added some crystal-looking blocks to give the level an alien environment, and I added doors that you need to shoot to open, because if you're not nuking doors, it's not really a Metroid game. And with the level coming together, it was time for a big boss finale. I wanted to try and create a boss inspired by the Parasite Queen from the very beginning of the first Metroid Prime. Luckily, Game Builder Garage includes a decent alien model, so I grabbed that, flipped it upside down, and made it rotate while shooting a laser from its eye. I then added some panels that rotate around the boss, blocking projectiles, and voila! We've got a boss! We're basically done, but the last thing that we need is some music. So I opened up GarageBand, whipped up some Stranger Things intro synth bass lines, and created a sort of Metroid-y song. And with the music done, everyone, this is my version of Metroid Prime 4. now that I've made a Metroid Prime game, is it really that hard to do? Yes, it's so damn hard. My version is just a crappy approximation and is full of bugs and glitches, and I hope that they take all the time they need, because if Metroid Dread is anything to go off of, it will definitely be worth the wait. If you enjoyed this video, why not check out one of my other videos? So far I've done a 3D Yoshi, 3D Sonic, and even a Dark Souls game. And if you want to try out my crappy Metroid Prime game for yourself, I'll leave the code in the description. Have a great day, everyone!